the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Happening right now, a search for an escaped inmate police say is armed, violent, and dangerous. I'm Alyssa Donovan. Have you seen this man on your screen? Authorities say 22-year-old Tyrell Deshaun White escaped from the Hancock County Jail around 6:30 this evening. White is from Indianapolis, so officials believe he might be somewhere in Marion County tonight. White was taking trash out to dumpsters behind the jail at the time of the escape. Although supervised by jail officers, he was not in restraints and was able to run away. He was last seen wearing gray sweatpants and a gray sweatshirt. White is awaiting trial on several charges, including theft and unlawful possession of a firearm. If you see him, call the Hancock County Sheriff's Department. And the rush towards March Madness is already hitting downtown, and even though there's no word just yet on whether fans will be in the stands, Hoosiers are still pumped about the upcoming games being held in the Circle City. WRTV's Troy Washington shows us how fans are feeling about the recent announcement.
A lot of people that come into Indy just for that tournament, and so I think getting people out and about, in a time like this is probably a good thing, as long as, you're following your social distancing.
These fans are just glad March Madness is back, even if fans might not pack the stands because of the pandemic.
I think it's a way for people to get out of reality for a little bit.
As soon as this group heard about games going on at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Lucas Oil Stadium, and Indiana Farmers Coliseum, they instantly felt it would be the escape everyone needs right now.
I know for my family personally, we fill up brackets, and so I know it's created a huge, between our extended family, it's a way for us to kind of connect with each other, even though we're not able to be there in person, but we still fill out a bracket as a family, and we can kind of text each other and see how each other's doing in their brackets and things like that. So I think from a social standpoint, I think it's huge.
And there's no doubt that Massachusetts Avenue will see an increase in traffic come March.
I just turned 21 this past year, so I haven't really been able to experience March Madness at the bars yet, but hopefully sometime soon I'll be able to get that experience. I don't know if I'll do it this year, but I could definitely see even if you're not at the game, you're just at the bars watching the games, I just feel like that atmosphere is going to be pretty insane.
And everyone is rooting for someone.
Excited for IU to hopefully take it home. Hopefully they make the tournament because they're looking good right now, but sometimes they can be a little shaky.
Or even just those unpredictable moments that you can almost always count on.
I honestly just look forward to usually the first round and any upsets that happen, because I know those can be pretty crazy.
Working for you downtown, Troy Washington, WRTV.
A limited number of athletes' family members will be allowed to attend the games. The NCAA has yet to announce if any additional fans will be allowed in the stands. Now to the latest on the coronavirus. Another 5,127 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19, according to the Indiana State Department of Health. 18 more deaths were also reported today, bringing the total number of COVID-19 deaths in our state to 8,613. Since March, more than 563,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus, and more than 6 million tests have been administered in Indiana. Cases of coronavirus are continuing to rise across the country, and now President-elect Joe Biden says he wants to distribute all available vaccines immediately to the states. The goal is to get more shots in arms and save more American lives. Here's ABC's Zoreen Shah with the details.
The U.S. surpassing more than 22 million confirmed cases of the coronavirus, more than 373,000 lives lost. Minnesota now the 9th state to confirm cases of that highly contagious UK strain of the virus. The push to get vaccines into people's arms growing more critical. President-elect Joe Biden saying he will release nearly all the available vaccine doses rather than hold back millions to ensure second doses are available.
We've got to start getting these vaccines out to states. We're in the middle of a horrible surge. That variant that was mentioned is probably in every state or most states in the country. We've got to get people vaccinated quickly.
Arizona now with the world's highest infection rate per capita. State Farm Stadium will become a 24-hour vaccine site beginning Monday.
It will just be on a first-come, first-serve, by appointment basis.
The senior living facility in Wisconsin turning vaccinations into a party.
I'll have a vodka martini, by the way.
Our nursing home residents have endured
10 months of not being able to see their families, and this is just the first step towards changing that.
New York City opening 5 vaccination centers. By the end of the week, the city plans to have 160 locations open. Cases continue to surge in California, the state deploying 88 refrigerator trucks to use as makeshift morgues, mostly in hard-hit Los Angeles County.
I've been here 21 years, and I've seen more people pass away in the past week, in the past couple weeks, really, than I almost like it combined in all of my career as a nurse.
The National Guard now in LA to assist staff over at crowded hospitals.
The most striking for me was just how crowded it was coming into the hospital. The feeling of chaos walking in, controlled chaos. At the same time, it felt like things were somewhat unstable, almost at the breaking point.
Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, thousands more Hoosiers will be able to receive the COVID-19 vaccine starting tomorrow. As of this evening, nearly 86,000 Hoosiers 80 or older have scheduled appointments at health departments across the state. Many local health departments will start administering the COVID-19 vaccine to seniors 80 and older on Monday, including Marion County Health Department. Medical workers and members of law enforcement will also be eligible to receive the vaccine through health departments. Mayor Joe Hogsett says the focus right now is to ensure Marion County residents stay safe and informed. All appointments will be made through the state, meaning you cannot call your primary care physician to get one. Eligible seniors can go to the website rshot.in.gov or call 211 for more information. And today was a bit of a gloomy day, Kyle, but there's some changes in the forecast.
Yeah, Alyssa, I'm sure we're not alone in wanting some sunshine back here in central Indiana. It'll be nice to need those sunglasses again, and you may need them tomorrow. Today, though, we were locked in the clouds one more time, and temperatures, as a result, only making it around 30 degrees this afternoon. Now, that blanketed cloud cover is keeping temperatures from really falling back tonight. We're at 27 right now in Indy and Kokomo, still holding on to 31 in Shelbyville. Satellite and radar, there are those clouds, really not going anywhere for us tonight, but we remain dry. Did see a couple of flurries out there earlier this evening. There's a look at temperatures as you head out the door in the morning. We are in the middle 20s, but a warm up that's coming up in your 7-day forecast.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Metro Police are investigating a shooting on the northwest side. It happened this afternoon. Investigators say the victim was shot in the 4900 block of West 71st Street just before 1 p.m. Police were called to Methodist Hospital after the wounded victim arrived at the emergency room. That person is now listed in critical condition. No word yet on a suspect or motive in this case. And 3 people, including a child, are recovering tonight after a car collided with an Indianapolis fire truck on an emergency run. It happened this afternoon near East 10th Street and Arlington Avenue. We're told a woman crashed into the fire engine with her car when she failed to yield at a red light. The fire crew on board Engine 25 was responding to an emergency call of a possible apartment fire. Both lights and sirens were on at the time of the crash. A total of 3 cars and the engine were involved in that crash. 2 adults and a child who were taken to local hospitals to be checked out. No firefighters were injured. And hundreds of used mobile phones have been collected over the past few months in an effort to help people in Indiana who are victims of domestic violence. 17-year-old Katie Dunn collected phones today at the Carmel Police Department. The cadet Girl Scout started the phone drive last year after recognizing a need in our community. A neighbor put out a group text asking if anyone had a spare phone for her friend. That friend and her young children had been kicked out of their home by an abusive husband. She and her children didn't have any belongings and no phone to contact people. Dunn wanted to do something to help people who are in domestic violence situations and need a lifeline. Her mom says she's very proud of her daughter for taking action.
Very caring about other people, which you can't ask for more than that, is to have a loving, caring daughter or offspring, right?
The phones will be donated to the Julian Center, which provides shelter and support to victims of domestic violence in Indiana. Lawmakers are gaining momentum in their push to impeach President Trump for the second time. When we come back, the latest development and what could happen as soon as tomorrow.
Payments, no interest for 12 months.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
With just 10 days left in President Trump's presidency, House Democrats are preparing to introduce a resolution tomorrow accusing the president of willfully inciting violence against the government. If this happens, it will be the first time in American history a president has faced a second impeachment. More now from ABC's Faith Abube.
In the wake of last week's deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol, President Trump is facing impeachment again.
We're going to the Capitol, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Democrats are demanding he be held accountable, drafting a single article of impeachment charging the president with incitement of insurrection. At least 200 lawmakers support the resolution, but so far, not a single Republican has publicly signed on.
Every minute and every hour that he is in office represents a clear and present danger, not just to the United States Congress, but frankly to the country.
The latest ABC News Ipsos poll finds a majority of Americans want Trump removed from office, but only 13% of Republicans support removal.
I think the best thing for the country to heal would be for him to resign. The next best thing is the 25th Amendment.
7 GOP lawmakers who voted to certify the election for Joe Biden sending this letter to the president-elect, asking him to stop impeachment from moving forward, writing, "It is as unnecessary as it is inflammatory."
I hope the Democrats don't go down this road. I do not see how that unifies the country.
Senator Pat Toomey joined fellow Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski in calling for the president's resignation.
The best path forward, the best way to get this person in the rearview mirror for us, that could happen immediately.
As the investigation continues, authorities announcing more arrests. Eric Gavlik Munchell of Tennessee allegedly seen with zip ties inside the Senate chamber. And Cleveland Grover Meredith Jr., accused of bringing an assault rifle to D.C. and threatening to kill House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The FBI is now working to determine if Wednesday's assault was pre-planned by multiple actors. Senior officials telling ABC News they were organized, coordinated, and had leadership, communication equipment, and paramilitary uniforms. Additionally, a senior official tells ABC News there's a very serious national security concern for domestic terrorism during the inauguration. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
The images from rioting at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday were disturbing for many adults. But what about children who may have seen pictures or video of the breach at the Capitol? We asked experts, what can parents do to help process these events? They say you should talk to your children about it and make the conversation age appropriate. For younger kids, speak with them about safety and explain how people disagree. For older children, have a more in-depth conversation about belief systems. No matter the age, parents should remember to approach the situation openly and give the child a chance to talk.
It's important to talk about because they could be internalizing a lot of it and having trouble grasping what's going on. And it always helps kids to get a release of their emotions. It always makes things a little bit easier for them.
Parents who are kind of figuring out, where do I go from here? And I'd be looking to see how their kids handling these things. Looking for, are there symptoms coming out of stress?
Psychologists say parents should keep an eye out for physical signs of anxiety in children. For younger children, it often results in behavioral issues. In older children, it can include physical exhaustion, headaches, or fatigue. The woman charged with attempted assault of a 14-year-old boy she had falsely accused of stealing her iPhone is out on supervised release. 22-year-old Maya Ponsetto was arraigned in New York on Saturday. She faced several charges, including attempted robbery, grand larceny, and acting in a manner injurious to a child. In a viral video last month, jazz trumpeter Keon Harold accused Ponsetto of assaulting his son over her missing phone. Ponsetto has said she's sorry. And the 2021 Consumer Electronics Show will be online only for the first time in its 54-year history. Exhibitors usually head to Las Vegas to show off the latest trends in tech. That's not possible this year due to COVID-19. So they'll be in what CES calls its digital venue. This year's topics seem likely to focus on home automation, health, and 5G. The 4-day event starts on Monday.
This time of year, we'd likely be showing off scenes like this across central Indiana, but you notice there's still some color on the trees here. This is actually a scene in Austin, Texas, from the snow that fell across portions of Texas and into Louisiana today, and that snow continues to fall there. Some heavy snowfall rates here across the northern portions of Louisiana, and that extends into Mississippi as well. That system is going to stay well off to our south. We've got those clouds that we have had the last several days. They haven't been going anywhere, but it doesn't look like we're going to see any measurable precipitation out of those. Temperature-wise, we're holding in the 20s to around 30 degrees for you in Columbus and Connorsville. It's still 30 in Muncie, while you're at 26 in the Greencastle area. Tonight, with mostly cloudy skies, temperatures will fall back into the lower and middle 20s as we go into our Monday morning. So it will be a chilly start to the day. Once again, you're going to need to layer up a little bit here. Shouldn't have as much frost out there as what we had earlier today, though. As we check out TrueCast, this is 8:30 tomorrow morning. Still quite a bit of cloud cover around, but I do think we're going to start to see some changes. As we go into the afternoon, we should begin to erode away some of that cloud cover. We may not go totally sunny out there, but certainly a nice change of pace from what we've had here lately. And we see on the forecast, as we take it hour by hour through your Monday, a mix of sun and clouds here. Temperatures are going to remain chilly, though. We're still only in the upper 20s for you at noon, and we'll get into the lower 30s for the afternoon high. So once again, we're about average where we should be for this time of year. High temperature for you, 32 in Danville and Hendricks County. You'll make it to about 33 in Rushville. Only 30, though, in Lafayette and the Kokomo areas. So it's been a little chilly, seasonably so, here for the start of the year and start of the month. But look at this. We've got a nice moderation on those temperatures. They're going to jump into the lower and middle 40s for highs, not just one day, but 3 days here, Tuesday through Thursday. And then things may change for the end of the week. Let's take a look at that. A couple different weather models for you here. This is 4 a.m. on Friday. One of those brings in a little bit of a wintry mess throughout the day on Friday. A mix of some precipitation here and possibly some light accumulations. The second model, though, notice where all that precipitation is. It is well off to the north. So we got some discrepancies by several hundred miles that we're going to have to work out here. And that one just bringing in a few flurries as we go through the end of the week. Right now, we'll call for about a wintry mix out there across the area. Shouldn't be a big deal at this point, but we'll keep an eye on it. And that's after those highs in the 40s, and that does bring in some dry but chilly air for next weekend with highs in the 30s. Stay with us. We'll be right back here on the news at 11.
The Home Store. This is home.
It's still unclear how many people in the general public are willing to receive the vaccine for COVID-19. There is also concern specifically among some members of the Latino, immigrant, and African American communities that people will be skeptical or unwilling to go to certain distribution sites like a medical clinic or pharmacy. Cesar Rodriguez stopped by a church where food distribution was taking place, and he spoke with some people who believe churches could play a vital role in the general population vaccination effort.
The Lincoln Methodist Church is providing some hope during the pandemic.
It really helps us out if it's just a gallon of milk, if it's a bag of rice.
This is their weekly food drive. It brings some relief to many impacted by COVID-19.
Probably the darkest winter that any of us have dealt with in a long time.
Church leaders are conducting a poll to find out how many of those coming to the food drive will agree to take the vaccine.
So our first question is, will you take the vaccine, the COVID-19, when it's available?
Oh, yes, I would, in a second.
We're accumulating facts so that we can present to the elected officials, to the scientists, to everybody in power and authority so that they can know the reality on the ground.
I think it's very important, because a lot of the people here in the community, a lot of people have no other choice but going to work, and whereas 30, 40 people in the factories and stuff.
However, not everyone feels this way. Many in Latino and Black communities are hesitant to visit medical and government institutions where the vaccine might be delivered. They're skeptical or worried about their immigration status.
We know that the government has been, in the past, dishonest and not trustworthy when it comes to a lot of different things. People have lost faith in so many institutions. But the case right now is that what they're doing is the inequity is going to come from not getting the vaccine.
We need to stop the death, Lord. We need a future.
That's why some believe religious temples should be vaccine sanctuaries.
but we're in place. If they really want to curb and stop this pandemic, they need to come to our communities, into places where our community feels confident. And we already have the structure in place. They already know us.
Emma Lozano says she speaks to her congregation about the vaccine.
A good Christian needs to love their neighbor and as they love thyself. And that means you take the vaccine so you don't infect your family and you don't infect your community.
While residents wait to receive the vaccine, this church will continue to keep faith in medicine to protect their community, hoping they can play a bigger role in the vaccination effort if needed. I'm Cesar Rodriguez reporting.
For helping me grow my hair back.
Sweet treats born out of boredom. Tonight we're sharing a positive story to come out of the pandemic. WRTV's Cameron Riddle shows us that the current crisis is not stopping a young Indianapolis woman from turning her creativity and passion into a business.
Sitting at home during the pandemic has given us all plenty to think about. For 22-year-old Destiny Smith, it was just about finding something to do that she enjoyed. That's when she went into the kitchen.
Playing around with stuff, and I came up with just covering stuff in chocolate.
She realized making desserts was not only fun, but her future. What started out as cooking meals for her family became baking custom-ordered desserts.
I originally started giving it to friends and family as like gifts, and they loved it. And I was like, oh, I'm about to start a business. And that's what I did.
Of course, the early months of the pandemic put the brakes on that idea, but in late 2020, Smith launched her own online bakery called the Cavity Factory. Large orders quickly came rolling in for Christmas.
I had a nursing's office, like where they do at-home care. The entire nursing office ordered and bought stuff from me for their families for Christmas and everything. It was nice.
The desserts from Smith's Cavity Factory can be customized for every order. Smith says she can create just about anything.
Anything from sunflowers to Spider-Man to anything.
Right now, Smith has a full-time job as an insurance agent, but with just weeks to Valentine's Day, she's hoping a good rush of sales will soon allow her to open her own in-person shop full-time. The woman who started a business out of boredom in a pandemic is encouraging others to spend their time doing what they love.
At this point, people are starting to realize that some of these jobs don't care about them. Why not do what you love?
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
And you can find the Cavity Factory on Instagram. Orders take at least a week to fill. The Indiana Pacers will start allowing a limited number of fans into Bankers Life Fieldhouse this month. Tickets go on sale January 19th for games between January 24th and March 4th. The Pacers say they will initially limit sales to approximately 1,000 tickets per game. They'll consider gradually increasing the amount of tickets available for games later in the season. The Pacers have hosted games in front of empty stands since the season began on December 23rd. IndyCar fans are going to have to wait a little bit longer for the start of this year's racing season. The league announced a change to the schedule, which means the first race will be in April, not March. The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg has been moved from March 7th to April 25th due to the ongoing pandemic. That means the first race of the season is now Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park on April 11th. That makes for a condensed start to the season when you also include 2 races at Texas Motor Speedway on May 1st and 2nd, the road course race at IMS on May 15th, and the Indy 500 on May 30th.
We will get there, and we'll get to some warmer temperatures actually a little sooner than you may think. After a high of 34 tomorrow with the return of a little bit of sunshine, we'll get those highs into the 40s here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so almost about 10 degrees above average. Then as we get into Friday, a little bit of a wintry mix.
All right, sounds good, Kyle. Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news. Our next newscast is tomorrow morning at 4:30.